Hello and welcome to the 2020 Play It Again Sports Jonesboro Open. Our coverage is presented by Prodigy Disc. We have got the first round front nine coverage at the 10th Disc Golf Pro Tour stop. Big Barry commentary, Jeremy Koling joined in the booth by my buddy Paul Ulibarri.
Happy to be here, just so happy.
And we've got Garrett Gurthie, happy to show off the Sonic, the second place runner-up finisher in the 2019 Jonesboro Open. What is going on there?
I wasn't supposed to be here.
And we obviously have you and me here. I did not play the 2019 I guess I just missed the 2019 one for my dental stuff. And now I'm back and I'm really happy because I missed this place. And Chris Dickerson showing off the chicken love. Third place finisher. So we've got some studs here coming into the first round feature card action. Starting off hole one, disc side of heaven, and we've got a boomer. 450 here, but it actually measures in at 470. It's slightly uphill, and it takes just about everything that most players are going to have to get to this pin. A very fun way to start off the tournament.
From Florida is Garrett Gurthie.
Yeah, usually you have literally a straight headwind on this hole, which makes it pretty difficult to get it there for most of the field. But this man right here, Garrett Gurthie, I don't think he's ever had a problem throwing it this far.
No, and he's going with his halo wraith, and he's going straight at it. A little bit of up and down fluctuation. That skips right up there. That's nestled 22 feet away for the birdie. That's a
Next
great
to
drive.
tee, coming from Arizona, Paul Ulibarri.
And this is actually a great perspective to see how easy Garrett throws it there. And I'm putting, just so you guys know, I'm putting everything I got into this. And watch the difference just in flight, how fast it goes. Mine's so much faster than his. It's like,
Yeah, that's in your dreams, buddy. And you're going with your ESP nuke. And a good pull, actually. I really liked that line. You pushed it wide, hyzer, and it just kind of didn't quite have enough to get all the way up.
And it was almost an exact flight as his. Just
Next up,
I don't throw it as far as him.
Yeah. Jeremy Koling.
They didn't get me pumping up the kicks. I'm not wearing Reeboks, but I pumped them up. Get a little bit extra juice going into this tee shot. Going with my Star Destroyer.
That gets over real nicely right there.
And I'll tell you what, that surprised me.
That was a rip.
Final player in this group from Tennessee, Chris Dickerson.
You don't see a lot of people go deep on this hole. In fact, I've probably only seen maybe two people go deep on this one, and so that's very impressive.
Now, I wasn't exactly happy with that because now I'm coming back down the hill with a headwind 33-footer, but I'm still happy I'm putting.
Sure.
But I was definitely not expecting to go long. And Chris Dickerson going with a D1.
You see that little shift in the wind right there? That takes everything out of it, and then instead of it carrying on that anhyzer, that little drop takes that little bit out of it, and then it's going to hyzer out. So just those little shears in the wind can really manipulate the flight of your disc.
Yeah. Chris from about 45 to, call it 50, just hyzers around the right side. And this is going to be a theme.
Yeah, so did you notice how when Chris was going, it was fine, and now there's...
we call that the win button. As soon as you step foot on your lie,
They were going right to left, straight tailwind, and now that right to left.
You told me that there was a 90-mile-an-hour left to right, right to left, head, tail, crosswind.
That's right. It's a tough wind to read right there. So. And this is scary, right down the hill. Oh, and what a putt. And that's tough. Coming down the hill, it can lift, this is a great angle. You don't put a lot on it, and then the basket just sucks it right in. What a putt from Jeremy to start the round.
Yeah, I typically don't fist pump a 38, 39 footer, but that was that had potential of being a really bad result.
In the words of Nate Sexton, that's desperate man's currency right there.
Garrett, not quite as desperate as he taps that great drive on hole 1. A good start to this tournament. And you and Chris Dickerson will clean up your short par putts. Yeah, usually if you see one birdie on hole 1, that's pretty good.
But
Really?
two is twice as good.
Yeah, it sure is. It's just it's a difficult starting hole just for the distance alone, and so important that the wind is right.
You don't see a lot of bogeys on the hole, really, but birdies are rare.
Hole 2, par 4. It's 820 feet. This one is an absolute bomber hole because once you get down here on this drive, you want to throw about 430, 440 feet. That leaves you with a 380-foot low ceiling, uphill the whole way approach, and it's tight and technical as well with the trees on the right side of the fairway, the big tall trees on the left side of the fairway. So it really doesn't open up on really any shot off the tee on the approach. And there's so many bunkers on the left side of the fairway and right side that if you get into, it almost spells instant bogey. Garrett's going with his Firebird. And it's just so impressive that he can throw that Firebird 450 feet to the perfect spot. Not many people have that power.
Yeah, and that's such a luxury to have, to be able to throw something so consistent and with that type of stability that there's nothing that can happen except for it. If you hit the gap, it goes right to where you want it to.
And this is my Star Destroyer. Pulled that one off to the right side, and that's the kick that you get. That was it's one of those bunkers I was talking about. Not a good place to be. And you just absolutely annihilated that line with your Z-Force. That's pretty money.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I threw it a little too straight, maybe. I think you want to get to where Garrett is, a little bit left, and then you have more of a makeable shot. The further you throw it here, it looks cool on camera.
Right.
But it's not always the
pinch
best
off
result.
the angle. Like, you guys are in a very similar spot, and you said that you're too far right, and now it's going to be a slightly blind approach.
Right. The further back you are, the better angle you have going into the hole from the angle that I'm at. I'd rather be where you were.
Yeah, there. Sure. And that
was a great shot from there. I mean, it traveled about 83 feet, but
that was kind of a dream result from where that lie was. This shot just absolutely blew me away as Chris is going with this FX2 blind anhyzer, low ceiling, puts it to 22 feet. And you got to be thinking, man, he just threw the perfect shot. Like, I got to try to match that, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, he gave me a great read on the line that we needed to throw. He was a little bit further back, which makes that angle a bit wider, but yeah, totally doable. Right here, I get this weird little...
just knocked it down.
Yeah. If I get the lift... The wind can do funny things to your shot, especially on my anhyzer coming up a hill. So
Garrett now going with Champion Glow T-Bird. Just going straight at it here and skipping underneath the basket, pushing all the way to the back edge of the circle. Yeah, you're kind of forced to go with a driver approach, even with a big drive, just because the ceiling is so low. Really showcasing just how impressive Chris's shot was.
That's getting up there about to circle's edge. That's a really great shot from where you were.
Yeah, definitely happy to have a par look after that tee shot was not long and in a bad spot. It's about 35 feet. And I read tailwind. I was expecting it to drop, but put a little bit too much power on it and didn't allow the disc to do what it naturally wants to do from that distance. So I'll be taking a bogey. And Chris picks up a really great birdie. The third hardest hole in the course. Only 10 players on the day were able to pick up the birdie. Let's see if Garrett can be one of those players, as he's got this 30-foot comeback putt. And the wind just really shot that down. Didn't really have a chance once it left his hand.
It was pretty swirly in that little corner right there. I know it looks super calm.
Right, and that's why, it's nice to have the flag six on top of the basket to just kind of give, if no one else, the fans at home an idea of exactly what the conditions are on that putt.
Right.
It looks calm, like you said. These trees are pretty heavy branches and whatnot, so it doesn't seem like there's too much air moving out there, but there's swirly conditions all day long. Temperature perfect. The only thing that was a little bit tough about the conditions was the wind was just, it really never let up.
Yeah, listen, guys. It was windy out there, okay?
Promise. Hole 3, par 3, 435 feet, straight across the field. There's OB on the left side, marked by barbed wire. Any shots that go out of bounds are going to get 2 meters of relief from the barbed wire, just obviously as a safety hazard. A little bit of a tail right to left. And Chris never quite gets that FX2 over, and that is fading left hard and has gone out of bounds.
So on this hole with a right to left wind, it's actually a pretty tough shot because you want it to get over on anhyzer so it pushes a bit. But if you throw the wrong stability, it'll hyzer out a little too much, and then you'll get that drift to the left. And because of that tree on the right, it makes it tough to get it right. And so you can not worry about that anhyzer drifting too right.
And Garrett doesn't quite trust the Dickerson's line, I guess, and goes with this X-Cow, and he also hyzers out of bounds.
So I really try to push that right side.
Good looking shot out of the hand, just comes up a bit short. 35 feet, 38.
Yeah, I just didn't get the right snap out of the hand. The line was great. The flight was good, just not far enough. Underestimated the 435 foot. Now this is the one. Once it gets over, then it starts to push, and now it's swinging with that tailwind, that tail cross right to left, and that was beautiful.
Yeah, I started off with my most stable destroyer in my hand and saw Chris's shot. And then I went to my most stable Thunderbird, and then I saw Garrett's shot, and then I went to my least stable Thunderbird, and I was like, okay, just trust that this tailwind's stronger than we're predicting off the tee.
Yeah, now look at where Dickerson is right now. I mean, it is breezy. He's 39 feet.
No, we're going to call this one closer to 50, I feel like.
I mean, however far he is, he puts that a good 5 feet above the basket, just trusting that that's going to fall, so...
But that putt on Anheuser just wasn't able to swing right in time, and that'll be another par.
Good height. Yeah, just didn't get it online.
And Garrett's off the top high, and he's going to collect a bogey as well as Chris. And I'll pick up the only birdie on the card, and the rest will just be tapping out. Still a little bit of work to be done there for Paul as you collect your par. And I guess it's the same for Chris. I mean, the wind is just annoying enough that these putts, it's not that they're hard. It's just they kind of add a little bit of that extra tension that just builds up throughout the day. And you just don't want a ton of those putts from that distance, especially when they're not for birdie.
Sure, and veteran players are going to take their time on those ones and not overthink them,
Right.
but also make sure that you get it online, because those
Correct.
are ones that you see newer players kind of rush, and then all of a sudden it's leaking out right,
Sure.
leaking out left, and those add up at the end of the tournament.
Hole 4 is a par 4. It's 630 feet. A low ceiling as the drone flies underneath that branch and down the fairway, but you're going to see most power players at least go for that big, high, wide hyzer route. And there are some out of bounds areas that are surrounding the big trees. So if you do land in those, that is an unfortunate out of bounds stroke. In the future, we were talking about this a little bit. I'd like to see.
Oh, get lucky.
And I was trying
Dang,
to
this thing was lifting and dropping.
Yep.
Kind of like your lift drop putt.
Hey,
You talked about a lift drop putt on hole 1 or 2 or whatever.
I mean, so many, you know.
And so
Tomato, potato, potato, I don't know. Pretty good spot right there.
Hit that hump right there. And then I did.
I was hoping I would get that nice lift, and didn't.
We were talking about hoping that there would maybe potentially be a mandatory on that tree, forcing people to do the low ceiling route, because this hyzer shot is wide open, and we honestly should be probably playing that. I mean,
I'm guessing I might be doing that in the next couple rounds.
I feel like the low ceiling is the way that the hole was designed to be played, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Honestly, I'm not sure if I have the power to get around all of that stuff consistently. I didn't practice it, so.
This guy's got the power to get around it.
That guy's got the power to get around the world, plus a little bit extra.
So the hole's 630, and Garrett just bites off 530 right off the bat.
Yeah.
That was an insane drive.
It's like he didn't even turn it over.
I was actually thinking, I was wishing I was Paul Ulibarri for this shot. Just a little bit shorter, and somebody who could trust that big backhand fairway driver turnover shot.
Well, I was hoping you'd say, like, oh, so that they could, like, throw a really great turnover shot. But then you're like, just a little bit shorter, you know, kind of like a dinker guy who, like, didn't grow much.
Someone who didn't grow much. Can't teach height, Paul.
No.
And you had a pretty tricky little gap there, and you split it with a nice little forehand with your force.
Yep.
And Chris, after that big turnover drive, has a blind approach, and that's a pretty good effort to get himself a nice 38-foot uphill look. And look at what Garrett's rewarded with after that absolute boom and drive. A little dink-dink birdie fest for Garrett. Oh, a little desperate man's currency almost.
Trying to get it. Trying to cash in a little bit of my pocket change right there.
Oh, and a great looking bid on that elevated basket, just a bit high.
I guess it's not going to stop.
And that's exactly like one of those putts that we were just talking about on the prior hole. That is a very challenging 22-footer, about as challenging as it gets from that distance. And once again, thank you so much to Prodigy Disc for presenting this coverage from Jonesboro, Arkansas this week. On to hole 5. One of the most fun par 3s in the course. It is just risky, do or die. There's a pretty open layup play. This whole fairway here you see is all in bounds, but up here the wall on the right creates that little out of bounds area over by the pond as well, and you have to decide, am I going to go for this one, or am I just going to play for the easy par? It is just, it pulls you in for the birdie shot every time, though, it seems. And Garrett going with an Emperor, one of the few guys that has the power to go hyzer and still get there.
That is so...
Oh my God.
That poor basket, if that thing finds any sort of change, that thing is...
You were
cutting
calling
it.
Go in right about here. You already knew that that thing had a great chance, and my goodness, it looked like it was in from the second hit left his hand. the right height as it flashes by the chains, just absolutely parked.
How do you? All right, whatever. That's crazy far, dude, in the headwind.
Not only did he do that, he did it in a headwind. I'm going with my champion boss, and tell you what, out of my hand, I absolutely
Right there,
love
I
this.
thought at that middle point, I thought it would lift and push, and it just didn't.
Didn't have the bite at the end.
But at least you gave me a good read, my friend.
Sure. If nothing else, I'm good for that. And that read didn't help out too much as the nuke drifts left and almost actually fought all the way through, which would have been an amazing result, but unfortunately that is going to be out of bounds, and all out of bounds shots on this hole proceed to a drop zone about 100 feet away from the pin.
Yeah, I was a little bit angry about the result after the shot I threw, but now watching it on camera, it was just an absolute shank job. So
Chris
we
going with
good.
a similar line with his FX2, and it just did the same thing and almost lands in the same exact spot, just drifting over to the right, just eyes are back, and it just never quite did. This is just like kind of at the perfect distance where it's just begging for someone to throw one in. I know we've seen a couple of par saves from the drop zone in the past. And that was looking so good. Just dropped a bit short. And so the three of us will have to just walk away with a bogey, hopefully. And Garrett is just, there's his disc. He'll just have to wait to tap out. I guess he's going to go ahead and do it. But what a stellar drive. Second hardest hole in the course, 3.41 average. Only 4 twos on the day. Macbeth, Andrew Presnell, and Ezra Robinson. I mean, that's a surprisingly low number. I figured that number would be closer to 10 to 12, but shows how difficult this hole is on a par 4.
Totally agree.
Let's go to you for a hole 6 breakdown.
Here at this side of heaven, hole 6 is a momentum hole. A birdie can go a long ways in helping finish this tough front 9. And just like most island holes, it's either birdie or bogey. Let's see how it plays out.
Hole 6 really plays as a must get. As far as being competitive, you just cannot afford to lose 2 shots on this hole. At this distance, 315 feet, the player must execute. Garrett goes with his rock 3 and throws a nice shot to 16 feet away. And a little tip of the cap to Nate Sexton, not able to join us this year on tour for COVID reasons, but his discs are still flying out here. Smack that. And that was looking so much like an ace run out of your hand. And about 3/4 of the flight, it just kind of like someone pulled a string from out underneath the disc, and it just dropped out of the sky.
Yeah, it's called being 32 instead of 22. That's that string they pulled on me.
Chris, that was a scary one as well. That was just barely over the top of the hill and kind of got a nice little skip up to 26 feet. And from there, he skips it off the front of the rim. So that was
A good putt.
a good birdie. That's getting a birdie the little bit harder way. And that's a nice first birdie of the round for you. Get right back to even after the bogey on 5. This putt bringing Garrett's round to 3 under through 6 holes.
I wasn't even thinking about that. That's $25 for charity.
Nice little donation to Edge, obviously, $25. A great program. Teaching kids around the world disc golf and countless numbers of discs. Sports introduced to so many people. Hole 7, par 4, 615 feet. A couple different ways to play this hole. There's one where you just throw it as far as you can. Who cares where it goes, right side, left side, whatever. Or some people just like to play the little pitch hyzer down the left side of the fairway. The only thing that makes that hyzer play on the left a little bit harder is that there's a big tree in the way and you have to decide if you're going to saw it off really early or try to go high and hyzer way around to the left. The best angle to approach this pin is off to the left side, so interesting to see how different people play this hole. Garrett just takes his Emperor and throws it as far as he can, and that is a long way. That is so far.
There I am behind you, kind of thinking like maybe I could give it a go.
I wish I knew that you were doing that while I was about to throw, dude. Look at mine. Like the camera guy has to turn for Garrett's shot, and mine just does what yours did in the last hole. I guess that's called being 35 today. Today's my birthday, by the way. So thanks for saying happy birthday, Paul. Jeez, context clues, dude. Jeez.
Anyways, as I throw it up there, I have a pretty tough lie. I'm going to not have the angle from left to right or right to left. I threw it directly behind that tree, and
a bit stymied for sure.
That's for sure.
So it's my birthday today.
Chris gets a nice little push through, but it's kind of a similar result to me, but he threw it a little bit further.
Yeah. Happy birthday to me.
And I'm pulling out my...
You're the worst friend I think I've ever had. I just wanted to put that out there. Anyways, back to you. You're going to get out of jail free. Avenger SS.
Yep, I made the camera turn around, which is usually good if you're throwing a drive and it's a far hole, but not when you're trying to throw a 250-foot up shot. I'm going to have a tough comebacker there.
And Chris, that's exactly why you try to play that hyzer to the left side. Really opens up the approach.
Is that why you wore a birthday cake outfit?
Jeez, come on, man.
Just happy birthday.
Oh, there it is. All right.
Happy birthday.
To be fair, right now is not my birthday, but when you're listening to this video,
that's why I wasn't saying anything, but you pressured me into it. Pressured me into a lie.
And Garrett actually went so far that his angle was completely cut off, having to go straight over the top of those bunker trees. And
must be my turn. There's a tornado coming straight at me here.
It really was all day long.
What'd you think was going to happen?
I'm sorry to laugh. It just was so bizarre. It really is like, I feel like so many times you always think it's you that the wind starts blowing. But today it really was you. It just was. It just wasn't that windy for the rest of us while we were putting.
Yeah, look at here's Jerm. Birthday boy, no problems. Just
I kind of dinker-donked that one on the left side, but it stays
But when
in.
it's not windy, you could throw your putt wherever you want and it goes in.
Yeah.
You know?
Kind of fortunate to have such a close approach, because if that had been 2 inches longer, that would have been a missed one. And Garrett's kind of heating up here. 4 in a row. Birdie's one of the hardest holes in the course, and make sure to get the easiest holes as well, as this is coming in at the second easiest course or hole in the day, and hole 16 was actually the third easiest. Got to make sure you follow up those hard birdies with the easy ones. And we're going to go straight to the fourth easiest hole here, hole 8, par 3, 324-foot blind shot around the corner. Most players are going to throw a pretty stable driver forehand and just try to knife it into this green. The biggest problem can be trying to hyzer it a little bit too early, and then you can be stymied in those little woods there, and it's really tricky in there. What an awesome approach from Garrett going with his rock 3. Just wow, and getting kicked out of the woods a little bit, so he's got an open look for the putt.
And this birthday cake throwing a Firebird here. It looks like around.
Did you just call me a cake?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take that.
What are you doing taking your sweet time? Oh my gosh.
The Firebird just
Move right.
hung out there a little bit longer than I'd like, but inside the circle, no complaints.
It's
Chris Dickerson going with his Bowling Green D3.
one of the things about Chris is it always blows my mind how much power he has with his sidearm. Like you don't, I don't think of him as a power sidearm player, but it gets there quick.
You really, dude? Get in there. Just go.
And the last thing you want to see
That's
is the
not
kick
in
back,
there.
because now you have to deal with all of it.
Yeah, even when you hope to just shank it in the woods, sometimes it doesn't even give you the justice to go in the woods. It's like, oh, you want me to go in the woods? How about no?
You don't even get in the woods,
Yeah.
buddy. And obviously you can see how tricky this little approach is with the low ceiling limb there. And that was just masterful execution. It looked a lot easier on camera than it actually was in person.
That was a beautiful putt. Good speed. Catches those right chains and just gobbles it right up. Nice birdie. It looks like Garrett's got these little kind of limbs right in his putting stroke, which is gonna alter his putt just a little bit.
Yeah, you can see that it's just a little bit higher release than normal. Hitting that band. Typically, if you ever see Garrett miss, it's low, and that one was just a bit high.
And this basket was friendly today with those right side chains, just kind of sucking them into the middle. That was beautiful. Now everybody's making wind sounds as
we've
I walk.
recognized that Paul is running into a windy putting days. Walking up to the putts, like Paul was saying, watch is just going to start a dust storm between me and the basket.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it was a lot of fun. Hole 9's par 4, 750 feet. Tight gap right there out of the chute. You want to get somewhere around this tree. Off to the right side really opens up a good forehand or a backhand skip shot. But that tree in the left side fairway, kind of at the top of that hill, really serves as a very prominent bunker, making it very difficult to throw the approach to get to this protected green. Slope green really results in a lot of rollaways down to the bottom of the hill. And that really is about as much distance as I ever hoped to get. That's with my old Star Wraith. And Chris chopping down a few limbs down there on the right side, but had enough power to squeak through there, and he's in a good spot. Garrett going back with his Emperor, and this one is
A little tight, yeah.
And that is not where you want to be. Garrett is going with that high intentional hyzer to be way left, opening up a straight shot, but just didn't get the distance he needed. And I like that play for you. You're opening up the best long skip shot with a driver with not going for quite as much distance off the tee.
Yeah, I found that when I throw a flippier driver, I end up in that tree on the right.
Yeah.
And then kind of...
But look at that, going through that only wide gap on the right side of the green. And that is such a wide angle to try to get. If that was 5 feet farther left, that hits those limbs and you've got a 50-foot death putt. That was a perfect approach for the blind shot.
And to give perspective, that's as far as I can throw that shot as well. It's not like I'm throwing a little pitch hyzer around the corner. I'm
Great
throwing
shot
up.
for Chris.
Yeah, I'm throwing uphill as hard as I can, and I'm guessing that Chris is throwing about 80 to 90% power as well.
This was kind of a little bit of guesswork. When you're going over the top of that tree, you don't really know what the wind is doing up there. The wind is swirly.
That was massive, though. Like, that is far up in the sky.
It's just a guessing game when you throw it over these trees what the wind's going to do to it.
I didn't know that they were going to get me saying the exact same thing I just said.
Yeah. Well, here's Garrett throwing out, and really, it's a guessing game when you throw up like that, and you don't know what the wind's going to do to it.
Garrett goes from one bad lie to another, and now he's in a spot where par would be pretty miraculous.
The good thing about it is he knows that if he throws it up high, it's a guessing game, and he's...
Stop it, dude.
No, he really does. He knows that the wind will kind of do whatever he wants. So he keeps it low, throws a nice skip shot. He's got a putt for par.
Really beautiful.
Has a cool little angle there.
Yeah.
They're spying on you out there. Can't do anything these days.
Why do I feel like somebody's watching me? Garrett, that's a fantastic par save. Never in position. A great third shot, setting himself up with that 27-foot par putt. And that was a nice thing to be able to watch Chris's reaction as it hit the ground, because I thought he was going to be circle's edge, if not farther left. Just hit the ground, kind of turned to the right, and rolled towards the basket about 5 feet. Left him a nice 26-foot putt for birdie that he made. And look at that. Paul, you're under par on the front nine. Great birdie.
Thanks.
Yeah, you got it, dude. So Chris Dickerson and myself at 3 under par, and Garrett with a nice 4 down front nine. As we take a look into the leaderboard, no surprise there. Paul McBeth as 7 under, scorching front nine, followed up with Reed Foscura, Ezra Robinson, and I actually don't know that other name. I don't know who that is, but 5 under in the front nine. Sean Lee, a bunch of scores at 4 under par. People are playing disc side of heaven incredibly well. Front nine thoughts, Paul?
Well, I think that the front nine's playing pretty tough, and that, like you said, there's a couple really hot scores coming in, but coming down on the back nine, with the wind the way that it is, if you can find somehow to shoot a 4 to 5 under, you're going to find yourself right in the mix.
Absolutely. Thank you so much to the Founders Club for supporting all the coverage. As always, you guys are always the glue that holds it all together. Thank you so much. And thank you to DGPT for presenting this coverage. Make sure you stay tuned for round 1 back nine coverage coming up in just a moment.